The flakes, they were flying in the southern Appalachian. Snow lovers in the south, though, you may be hoping this is a sign of things to come.
Yeah, well, let's face it. What people really want is for the Great Lakes to, share the wealth. They've been digging out, and other parts of the country are like, give me just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what can happen in the South. If you can get just a little bit of snow to locally have a big impact. We're not going to have Great Lakes type snow in the South. Probably not going to have a lot of snow in the South. And we might have zero, but we could get
Dr. Knapp, I feel like you're taking a lot away.
But we could get some. I mean, look at how consistent the Euro has been in like southern Georgia, Florida Panhandle.
You know, there's been some suspense when it comes to the snow that's been expected across the South in days previous.
Especially when we looked at, other models where it was like, it wasn't just will it or won't it. It was like, where won't it snow? I mean, yesterday's GFS made it look like we were all getting in on it.
Didn't we all wag our finger and say, don't take the latest models as gospel. It's going to change. And it still could.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of questions, but it feels like the answers are becoming a little clearer now.
Yeah, they're starting to settle in a little bit.
Well, welcome in, everyone. This is Weather Unfiltered. Glad you could join us. I'm Mike Bettis.
I'm Alex Wilson here with our expert, Dr. Knapp. I feel like the GFS is like the dressing room mirror. It tells you things that just aren't true, and then you get home and you're like, why did I buy? Like, this is not good.
I feel like it's like a little, like your manic little brother who's just like, and then like the Euro is you because you're like, she's tried and true. You're a steady hand.
Yeah, can we be a little bit chill? But and then Dr. Knapp has to deal with all the mess.
Yeah, and that's why you start to get in the habit of looking at trends in the models, looking at what's physically realistic, and not going too crazy over one model run.
Look at you being the voice of reason.
But
it pays off, doesn't it? It really pays off.
But it is going to be cold, and there is at least going to be a cold rain all the way down to the Gulf Coast.
Boy.
That sounds fun, doesn't
lovely?
it? All right, well, stick around. We've got the forecast coming up, but
the U.S.-Canada line border near International Falls, Kuchiching. Let's go with, I don't know. I just felt like I made something up. St. Louis. I'm sure it's much more eloquent how you say it. 5:45 expiration on this. And you're like, well, you're talking about Buffalo. You're talking about Boston. They're already cold. I know, but we get into that cold that, again, things that are uncovered, our fingers. If you're outside for a while, you're going to be up against that potential for some health issues, things like frostbite. All right, Buffalo, winter, it's making its presence felt in a huge way. Maybe you grab yourself another extra sweater. They're doing end of season sales on the winter clothes, so maybe able to get a good deal, and you'll certainly need it. Buffalo average high is 32. Tomorrow in the upper 20s. So you're like, all right, close to average. Close to average again on Saturday with a high of 34. Then we're at 22 on Sunday. You're like, okay, fine. Monday 19. Tuesday high of 13 degrees there in western New York, and we'll stay in those low to mid 20s Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So quite a bit of cold to stick around with us through the upcoming week. Now, we look into next week. It's not just Buffalo. You're not alone. 63 million people below average tomorrow, 169 million people below average on Sunday, and then on Tuesday, we up the ante even more. We've got 216 million people with highs below average. Now, that next blast of Arctic air, it's waiting, it's lurking, and it's going to come on down. It's like the Price is Right, but you don't want this one to get called. It's getting called, and it's going to drop those wind chill values way down. So tomorrow, already chilly. We've got a feels like temperature of -1 in Bismarck, of 15 in Chicago, 6 in Cleveland, 8 in Pittsburgh, 2 in Syracuse. But into next week, take a look at the numbers. Buffalo, teens below zero. Same for Chicago and Minneapolis. Single digits below zero in Des Moines and Indianapolis. In the 20s below zero in International Falls and Marquette, Mike.
You know, what's interesting about this typically is we get a lot of these systems in locations.
Yeah, and Mike showing us the European model output. This is a little different product. This is showing the chance. And the chances across the Southeast, as you can gather, they're going down.
Yeah, and every model run is not just one model. It's a lot of alternative scenarios, what we call an ensemble, and you can calculate percentages from that. So you get a probability, and in the Euro, in any one spot, most places have a less than 50-50 shot of getting even an inch of snow. And even in these areas here, it's not guaranteed. So say at Tallahassee, your chances maybe 1 out of 4, 25%.
Yeah. So it doesn't feel that confident. And obviously we've seen those changes here in the forecast models, that the overall confidence of any snowfall across the southeast is going down because we still have a little better idea. But as you mentioned, still some wiggle room.
So, but there's a decent sized area that has a chance, so you can't ignore the possibility. But there are so many subtleties with what's going on with this trough that's coming from Canada into North Dakota right now. And this is the player that is going to change in terms of its depth and shape, and that matters in terms of timing when moisture comes in relative to the cold air. I mean, the greater chance is that the moisture outruns the cold air in terms of having the rain and then the below freezing. But if the precip starts a little sooner, there could be this narrow window, a couple hours, where there's the precip into the cold air enough to get a short burst of snow.
Yeah, but that's what the European has really been holding on to, that window of moisture so small. Here's the European forecast, and again, it's a lot of cold rain with some snow too, but probably not long enough to really accumulate significantly.
That's a key. Yes, you might see some flakes in the sky, but it may not stick hardly at all because it's going to happen so quickly, and it might not happen at all. But if you look at the bigger picture, you can kind of understand how there's so many little subtle things with timing. Because here comes our low of the Great Lakes. Here comes our front, so we get the moisture starting to come off the Gulf. And then here comes our trough in the dashed lines. If that trough sharpens at just the right time, then you get the precip starting a little bit earlier. But the Euro says, no, it's probably going to be a little bit late, and the cold air mostly comes in after the precipitation. But that's where we're leaning right now, not a guarantee.
Yeah, so we continue to watch for you, but I know snow lovers, they don't like to see the trends we've seen.
But those of us who didn't grow up with snow in the South, just seeing a flake in the sky is novelty.
Great point.